Hello, everyone. Um, Today we're going to be talking about something very interesting. Just want to wait for some people to come in here. Um, Today is a nice day, a great day, and a great day to be live, a great day to be talking to you guys. The subject of today is an exciting subject for me, and I hope for you as well. And a lot of people who are going to listen to this subject today, they're going to do it, they're going to take action, and 5 years from now, they're going to have a huge success, and they will come back and thank me for it. They will come across me on the street somewhere in the world, and they will say, hey, I learned a great deal from you, and I was able to do this and that and that and that because of what I learned from you. And those who have not taken the decision will still remain where they are even 20 years from now, and they will keep complaining. So, I'd like to welcome you guys to the show. I am seeing a lot of people coming in a little bit far away from my screen, so I cannot acknowledge you because I cannot read the names from where I'm standing. So sorry about that. So let's get started. Now, dealing with this issue is concerning Africa very seriously, because I want to let people understand why we cannot not moving ahead in Africa, and also what they have to, how they can see the sign of what is holding them back, and how they can start doing something about it. It's a very important thing. It's not trying to bash anybody or try to be wise. It's just that, look, everything that goes on in the world today is a process. It's a process, and if you understand it, you will be able to identify it. It's not a rocket science. Now, let's start with one thing. Everybody knows that I'm big in agriculture, and I believe that a country like Nigeria can easily develop its agricultural capacity to like 300 billion annually. Now, it is not a rocket science. A country Nigeria, as big as Nigeria is, can develop the agricultural facility to about 300 billion revenue yearly. That's astronomical. That is like 10 times what Nigeria is earning from oil today. A country like Congo, can develop even twice as much in agriculture. It is mind-boggling, the resources Africa has to be able to develop their natural, abilities of, finance. But there's one thing that is missing in Africa, and that is because Africans are not taking decisions that affect them. So there's a saying, somebody once told me, a wise man, he said, look, if you don't take a decision will be taken for you. If you don't take a decision, decisions will be taken for you. Now, the problem is that African nations and we Africans are not taking decisions for our future, for things that affect us. So what you normally see is that the Westerners will have to take a decision for us. It's like if you want to travel somewhere, you go into the car and you are about to start traveling, and you notice that, oh, the other guy is still waiting. And then you ask yourself, why are you there? Why are you sitting down there? Come on, go into the back of the car. So now somebody has not taken a decision for the guy who is not moving. That is how the world works. The world is moving ahead, and the world will discover that, hey, these guys from Africa, they're not doing it, they're not moving. So you know what we're going to do? Let's take a decision for them. That is the problem we have. So what happened is that you get a tag, somebody tag you. And one of the things, let me give you an example how it is tagged. A lot of people have heard about the term third world country. Okay, so people, the word third world country was coined. So if a third world country is, coined, that means there is a first world country, there's a second world country, and there's a third world country. Most of the time, the Africans line up as the third world countries. Now, that's number one. Number two, after some time, they started calling Africa, underdeveloped nations. So every time somebody will refine it properly and say, it's the underdeveloped nations. So now they now divide it into two. We have underdeveloped nations and we have developing nation. So if they call you a developing nation, that means you are making progress to get out from underdevelopment to development. There are some guys like Nigeria, they just, okay, we are just underdeveloped nations right now because we are not moving anywhere. So that is how, because the decision is not, people are not taking decision is being taken for them. Now, how does that affect you? That affects the psyche of the people. Once somebody gives you a tag, it's like you call somebody in your village that they call him Chris Man. So once the person is known as Chris Man, he has to live up to his reputation. So he's the Chris Man in the town. Everybody call him the Chris Man. So therefore, he has to live to his reputation of being the crazy guy. So now, let me point this to you. In Africa today, there is in agriculture, the Westerners often refer to, use the word smallholder. The smallholder is a word that I hate a lot, especially when they use it in agriculture. Why? Because no nation was ever built upon smallholder agriculture. No nation can ever be and be built on a solid foundation with smallholder agriculture. But today, what happened is that some dude coined the word smallholder. It's a normal English word. A smallholder means that, okay, you have something a little bit, like a garden. It's not really a farm, but you're just using it to feed your family, yourself and your family. That's a smallholder. So what's normally happens is that you have some of these young people, and these things are coined by European American young people. They are not big politicians or big scientists or whatever. No, somebody is writing a PhD thesis. If you're doing your PhD, say you are 25, 30, and then you are writing a PhD, and then you coin that word, smallholder farmer, or smallholder that, and then you think, oh, you know what? Guess what? This solution will work in Africa. So these people who are, young people, but highly educated, feel that they're going to come up with a solution called smallholder agriculture, okay? And they're going to bring it to Africa, and they're going to start implementing it, and they're going to help and do everything for Africans to improve the agriculture through smallholder agriculture. So therefore, it has to work. So they come, and they are some of them are very brave. They come to Africa, they work hard, they push this idea, and then what happened? If you ask a young African today who wants to go into agriculture, what do you want to become? Oh yeah, I want to be a smallholder agriculture. I want to start a smallholder. So then I asked myself, how would you want to start a smallholder? And no nation is ever built on smallholding. Okay? For people who don't know the difference, this is what a smallholding look like. Okay? So you have a smallholding, you smallholder, you have a big holder. Okay? Let's call it a big holder. It's not a normal word. I'm coining that word right now. So if you go here, say software development, you have a web developer in Lagos, okay? Most of the time, a young man or a woman just try to earn a living by developing software. This person is a smallholder. Here you have Google, okay? A big holder, okay? This one is like, you know, this company is going to, you know, $1 billion, $1 trillion company. But this one is struggling with trying to make a, you know, $1,000, build $1,000 company. So, you know, if you take that thing, if you take agriculture, you have Monsanto. A lot of people hate Monsanto. And then you have a, you know, a small farmer in Edo State, small farmer, okay? He's planting, let's call it watermelon. This guy is doing like, you know, a couple of billions, let's call it 30 billion. And this guy is doing like, you know, $500, okay? So I can go on like that, like that, like that. So why is this important is that people have put this word in the brain of young people in Africa. The government of Africa have accepted that that is what they are capable of doing. The young in Africa, they are accepting it, that that is what they are capable of doing. So nobody is thinking, people are not thinking big. People are thinking smallholder. So it is really very embarrassing. And you know, the problem is that a lot of our so-called educated elites who don't know how words affect people, they'll start making big mouths online, and when they hear somebody like me talking, they say, yeah, what do you know, this and that. But they don't understand that they are smallholders. They are thinking smallholding, okay? That is what the problem is. Now, when you are thinking smallholding, you cannot build a nation. This is one of the reasons why no African nation can be built. You don't build countries with smallholder. So if a company like Google or a company like Amazon, a company like Microsoft, a company like Walmart, the profit this company makes a year, each of this company makes a year, the profit they make a year, every year, is more than the earnings of a country as big as Nigeria. Google earns more money than Nigeria. Monsanto earns more money. Amazon, Microsoft, Walmart, and I can name more than 100 companies in the world that earns more money than Nigeria. An entire country. Why? Because these guys are big heavyweights. They are big holders. Whereas a country like Nigeria has a bunch of small holders. Small holders cannot compete in the world. That is why when the Americans wanted to go to the moon, they had to develop a new set of rockets engines, okay? Because the engines that were available before, that could not, you know, take anybody out of the, you know, stratosphere. So a new form of rocket engine has to be created, the Apollo engine, that, you know, was able to take people out of this stratosphere and power them to the moon. Africa, countries in Africa needs to start to understand that, look, you got to re-engineer your people and take them away from small holding to large holding. And you have to take them away from here to here. If we, by the time Africa has 1, 2, 3, 4 companies who are big holding companies coming out of African soil, doesn't matter. And that is when a country like Nigeria is supposed to be taking the lead, because for the sheer size of the country and for the fact that Nigeria is simply, it has so many people living there, so many, over 180 million people. So they're supposed to be the big holders in Africa. You're supposed to have the Googles, the Monsanto, the Amazon, the Microsoft, the Walmart coming out from that source. But it is not, because people are not thinking. And sorry to say that, but people are not thinking. It's not an insult. People are too busy with religion, with politics, with every other thing. that people are not thinking. Look at, if you don't believe me, take a look at your timeline on Facebook and see how many information comes by you a day from other of your friends or people on Facebook that triggers you to think, that puts that teaches you something, that want to show you how to be a millionaire, how to be a big holder, how to develop Africa, how to transform this Africa into a better place. Look at your timeline and then you will see it. And then look at how the percentage of religious or political views that is flying by your timeline every moment of the day. Now, what does that show? That people are not ready for development. People are not ready for advancement. So that is why, for people often ask me, oh, how would you transform agriculture in Nigeria? Well, it is not difficult. It is simple. You know, to transform agriculture in a country like Nigeria, what I would do is to first of all move people, create a layer, what I call a layer above the small, you know. So you have this layer, and then you have here smallholders. Okay, so you have all these smallholders here. Okay, we have all these smallholders. Okay, so all these smallholders, you have all these smallholder. Okay, smallholder. So the smallholder, that is the guy that is doing like 1 hectare cassava, 1 acre cassava farm. So he is doing 1 acre. This one is growing 10 coconut trees, and this one is doing 1 acre watermelon and so forth. Okay, so all these guys are smallholder. These guys can't get anywhere. A country that is building its agricultural potential on these smallholders will never get anywhere. Why? Because in Africa today, this is the statistics. If you go to a country like Europe, the Europeans, they have like 740 million, okay, million people living in Africa. They spent, you know, I mean, in Europe, this is EU. So you have about 740 million. Out of it, 10 million, okay, are in agribusiness. Different types of agriculture. So you have 10 million people. And this from the working class, people who are capable to work, people who go to work every day, employable people, it is just 4.4% of employable people in Europe. 4.4%. Okay? Why? Because the agriculture that they are running in Europe is not smallholder. So they have big holder agriculture. Now in Africa, we have smallholder. The smallholder is 60%. Some countries are even boasting of 60% of employable people in agriculture. 60. A country like Nigeria is 60%. That means if you have employable people, say 100 million, you know, that's people who are strong, can go to work, then 60 million people are in agriculture. Try to digest that for a moment. 60 million people are in agriculture in Nigeria. These 60 million people, they cannot feed the country. Whereas we still have to import about 35 billion, that is 35 with a B, US dollars worth of food. Okay? Yearly. I mean, yearly. $35 billion worth of food yearly. That's just the food. But what people don't count is the import of a non-food item, although they are food, but we are not eating them. Like, for example, if you starch that they use to make, medicine, that they use to, you have, stuff to make beer. Different things that depend on agriculture are a byproduct of agriculture. They are not calculated in this. This is just chop. Something we import and chop, like rice and beans and all that stuff, 35 billion. So now, try to imagine that. We have over 60 million people in agriculture, and yet we have to import 35. So the problem is smallholding agriculture is not scalable. You can't scale it. Where are you going to scale it to? To 100% of all African citizens going to farm before they can feed themselves? Whereas in Europe, we have 4.4% of employable people in agriculture. So that is why the Africans, they have lost the script. Why? They lost the script because they didn't have a script in the first place. Somebody wrote a script for them, and that script ain't working. So so our people need to start writing a script. This small-holding farmer, okay, this person here is just struggling. My grandfather was this person. My grandfather was this person. My father was this person. And today, young people who are going into business, it doesn't matter what type of business they want to go into in Nigeria, or the type of agriculture or whatever, they only think smallholder. They are thinking smallholder. So, but a lot of people will tell you, oh, the sky is the limit, or this, that. But when you see what they are doing, they are thinking smallholder. They are not thinking big enough. You can't change the world by thinking small. You can't change the world by thinking small. You can't be thinking smallholder all the time. And the Africans need to start removing that word from their vocabulary, smallholder. They have, so this layer is what I call it beyond smallholder. Beyond smallholder. Okay? So we have to build that I call beyond smallholder. That means that if this guy is producing 1 acre, okay, that's what he can do, because he's a smallholder. He cannot help it. There must be a guy here who is producing at least 50 acres. No, not 50, at least 75. Let's put it 75. Okay. So this guy is producing 75 acres. This guy is beyond smallholder because he is no longer a smallholder. But at the same time, he's also not a big capitalist. He has just elevated himself out of that smallholding environment. So now this guy, if you empower him, give him enough resources, he'll be able to develop his business to at least $5 million US in 5 years. Okay, $5 million US in 5 years. This guy. And that is what they do in Europe and America. Now, that is the value of the business. It's not profit, or the mine is not making that profit every month. But this guy, he has generated $5 million value. So if you want to sell his company, somebody will come and pay $5 million for it. That is this guy. So this guy is empowering this small guy. Now, in a country, if you have 10,000 of these people, like a country as big as Nigeria, you can easily have 10,000 of these people. 10,000 of these people, we're called beyond smallholder. These 10,000 people with a value of $5 million, okay, you calculate it. So that is the value they add to the economy in 5 years. So we are looking like 100 billion did they add into GDP just by creating a layer on top of 10,000 people. And somebody said to me, yeah, but how do you do that? That is so easy. That is so easy that even a country like Nigeria, not only that you create this layer, you know, when you have this beyond smallholder, these guys are still very small. Then you're going to create, there is a layer on top of these people that is really the Dangote types, the big conglomerates that are doing like, they are doing like they are building a company like Google. They are doing like, you know, 5 billion, okay, US dollars. That's what these guys are doing. So you have like, you know, 20 of these guys on top of this guy. So these 20 guys doing 5 billion value, they are generating at least another 100 billion adding to the economy. So, and then so now you are having an economy of extra 200 billion. But these guys, the smallholders are still there. The smallholders are not getting, leftovers, crumbs. The crumbs that is falling from all these people, all this, the extra layer, the beyond the smallholder, is coming to the smallholder. So what happened is that the smallholder, even the very small holder, is now more empowered. It's now more empowered because these people, they are getting training, they are getting support, they are getting awareness, they are getting different things, and the training, awareness, and support they are getting, that is flowing down to the small holder. Okay, that is how the world works. If you know of any country that has developed, that is how it was built. It was not, they were not built on smallholder. These people, smallholder, whether somebody tell you smallholder agriculture, smallholder this, smallholder this, at the end of the day, they ain't going nowhere. I can bet my life on it. You are a smallholder, I'll go and sleep. 10 years time, I'll wake up and I'll still meet you, you will still be a smallholder. Because smallholder, we are not supposed to become bigger. That is not how the idea of a smallholder is. So if you have somebody one day and come to you from one of these fancy American university, Berkeley, MIT, or Harvard, and all this fancy university, and it's telling you that you got to improve smallholder agriculture in Africa. Run away from that person. I'll take a stick, pursue that person very far away, because that person doesn't understand how to grow a country, and that person, it is not his or her fault. He just doesn't get it. He doesn't get it because that solution of smallholder agriculture, that is a solution that these young people from Europe, idealistic young people, created to say, okay, let's go to Africa and bring this solution to them. This is not a solution by people, Africans who have thought of the problem of Africa, who say, okay, look, hey, how do we really resolve this problem? But the irony is that if you go to Africa, if you know how many projects, US aid project, UN projects, EU projects, all these projects that are coming to Africa, they are all geared towards smallholder, 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 smallholder. Okay? Now, it is not because these people hate Africans. No. It's not because these people don't like us. No. It is because in their mind, that is the solution to our problems. Okay? In their mind, that is the solution to our problems. But the thing is that if you are in our society and you have thought about it deeply, you realize that that is a part of the problem for our society. It's not a solution to our society. It's one of the problems to our society. Because that woman in Kebbi State, That woman in Kebbi State who is growing, who has a smallholder farm, is never going to be a multinational. Okay? That woman in Edo State who is frying akara on the street is never going to be a conglomerate because they are smallholders. And that woman is training her children to be, guess what? Smallholder. The other one in Edo State is training her children to become smallholder. Now, what is the government doing? The government is doing nothing because most people in the government don't understand the process. They don't understand how it works. So we just have a bunch of Africans who are smallholders. Somebody have told them, hey, guess what? You are a smallholder, okay? From today go, you are a smallholder. You stay a smallholder. So they wake up every day and say, you know what? We don't have solutions. Well, we are smallholders. So please come and help us. So now, what do? They say, how do we help smallholders? Because they put a tag there. So I have an idea. We're going to come up with microfinance. Okay, microfinance. That should do it. That should do it. Because the smallholder doesn't need a lot of money. So therefore, we're going to give that $100 loan microfinancing to the smallholder. Great idea. What the hell can you do with $100? Let's be frank about it. You can't do anything with $100 in Africa. $100 if you have $100, by the time you go and buy 2 bags of fertilizer, and you buy maize bag, you pay some people to clear a field, that money is finished. And then you are stuck. Guess what? You stay smallholder. So then you come up with this microfinance. So microfinance is not getting anywhere. No nation was ever built on microfinance. Whereas big conglomerate, big companies, they don't get microfinance. No, they get IPOs. IPOs. With IPOs, you can raise $50 million. Okay. They go to the. I'm sorry, I gotta laugh. So they get IPOs. The big fish get IPOs. So whereas Africans are getting microfinancing. Now the big guys, they can go to university, they can sponsor people to say, oh, like Dangote, for example. Dangote can say, oh yeah, Dangote can say, oh, I'm sending 800 people to India, okay, for study for 12 months. Okay? And he has done that. Why? Because this is a big fish, big conglomerate. The smallholder cannot even go to a local school. Cannot go to a local school. That's a problem. So don't get me wrong. Dangote is doing a great job, in my opinion. I mean, I'm not doing something wrong, but I'm only saying that is the difference. Company like Dangote Group, they are multinational, big conglomerates, and it's one of the few, very few in Africa. But, Aliko Dangote is one of the few men in Africa who understand that you got to go big in order to compete in the world. But if Africans learn to think big, even a lot of people who are listening to me today, they are not thinking big enough because they don't realize that they have potentials. They don't realize that, look, the potentials they have today, what an average person has today who is listening to me, all the billionaires and millionaires today didn't have the access to these things 10 years ago. That is how big the environment is today to operate in. And yet, people have been told that they have to think smallholder. Go to African government. African government, doesn't matter which government it is, any country it is, they are so full of it. Everything they think about is smallholder, smallholder. Some stupid politician will go and buy frying pan in China to empower their citizens so that they can fry better akara. They will go and bring stove to empower their citizens. Okay, what type of empowerment is that? Or give youths wheelbarrow. Now look at this. This is how, another example for you people to understand. Take an issue of water. Okay? I know these are problems in Africa that has to be solved. But this is how smallholder think. Smallholder think, oh, let's go and build boreholes in Africa. Okay? Because somebody come to Africa and they feel very sorry for Africa. It's all good intentions. Remember, the road to hell is full of good intention. It's all good intention. Let's go and build boreholes in Africa because the people don't have water to drink. And that is true. So somebody comes and they build one borehole, two borehole, three borehole. At the moment they have 100 boreholes in different places. Before they build the 100th one, the first borehole has stopped working. So you have to come back. By the time you finish repairing the first one you built, the second one stopped working. And after some time, the whole project falls up. Now, this is how the big holder think. Big holder think, you know what? We're going to build a water project, okay? We're going to build a water project that will supply water to 3 million people. And we're going to lay pipes from house to house, from village to village. We're going to do interconnectivity. That is a big holder. But in Africa, we don't think big holding. So like if you go to a country like Nigeria, everybody has a borehole. Everybody has a borehole. That is smallholder. A borehole is smallholder. Water project to supply water to 3 million people is it's a large scale, scalable. You can't scale this borehole. you can't scale things. You see, Africans are shooting themselves on the foot. I've written about it, and a lot of people get angry, because they don't. Africans are shooting themselves on the foot because you are doing something that is not scalable. If you cannot scale, that scale means that you cannot get bigger. Like this is like animals. That's what when we're studying biology. One of the things that we are told in the school then was that animals, living things, stays their own kind, number one, but living things have specific size. So a human being cannot be as big as elephants. Some people have tried it, but they found out very fast that they cannot do it. So a human being cannot be as big as an elephant. That is, an elephant cannot be as small as a dog. So animals have sizes. So it's the same thing. Living things cannot scale their sizes. You can try, but it doesn't really work very well. So we say animals cannot really scale very well, but they have a way of scaling, and that is by multiplication. They make a photocopy of themselves. So that's how they scale. Africans have not understood that look, you can't scale by building boreholes. You got to get the big project. You can't scale by generators. You got to get a big project. So what the people do is that because of course, all the other stories that the corruption, all the other nonsense in Africa that is preventing people from actually doing the scaling to scale their society. So there's no development. Because the society is not scaled, then they are stuck in the smallholder environment and they are doing microfinancing. Okay, so now why Africans are doing microfinancing? A company like Tesla is doing like, Tesla can go into the market and get 5 billion. Tesla can go into the market, and they will get 5 billion loan, or they will get $5 billion financing. One company run by one man, and you have entire nation with 180 billion people with oil that is everywhere. You know, there's Baku. They just say, oh yeah, the oil plenty. So with oil that is everywhere, and that country cannot get 5 billion anywhere. Okay, they have to sweat to raise 5 billion. Why? Because that country, in this case Nigeria, is full of smallholders and everything. So whether you have a vulcanizer, is a smallholder. You have a mechanic, is a smallholder. You have a baker, is a smallholder. You have a farmer, is a smallholder. The other guy is growing snake, smallholder. Growing pig, smallholder. Doing chicken, smallholder. Growing cow, smallholder. The biggest problems we have today with the cow rearing in Nigeria, the Fulani herdsmen, is just a classic example of smallholder agriculture. Somebody has 20 cows and he's trekking from Kano to Lagos. That is such big madness, eh? That is smallholder thinking. It really, what pisses me off is that some of our people, even the ones that went to school, because are more harder on some of us that went to school, that don't really understand how the system works. They come and make arguments that, oh, the white man is the fault of what is going on in Africa. And I say, have you been sitting under the rock all your life? How many great ideas have you come up with? How many great ideas have you come up with that can help develop the society, that can help transform the society? No. People don't come up with ideas. What people do is that they take what the stupid ideas that was, generated by some students in Berkeley, or some student in Harvard, or some student in Oxford. They take that idea and they start to preach it to our people. So you will have a minister of agriculture, and he's selling the same nonsense to his citizen. You have a commissioner of agriculture selling the same nonsense. You have governors selling the same nonsense. You have president selling the same nonsense. And I think nobody has ever leaned back, take a distance from the nonsense and look at it and say, how is this working for us? If this has not worked for the past 40 years, then something is wrong with that. And by the way, are they doing this nonsense in England? No. Are they doing this nonsense in Germany? No. Are they doing this in America? No. So why do we have to do it? Why can't we cross it over and say, look, this smallholder nonsense doesn't work in our place. So it doesn't work at all, because that is not what they are doing there. So why are we doing that? And mark you, it's not the fault of the Westerners who came with this idea. They came with this idea because there was nothing. I will repeat that. They came with these ideas because there was nothing on ground. And remember, if you don't take decisions will be taken for you. And that's what has been happening in Africa. Africans are not taking decisions. They are not coming up and taking their responsibilities. If you don't take responsibility, then you're going to Or you wait until somebody come and say, okay, do this. So what people have to start doing is that people have to start thinking. What I mean think, and people don't think because they spend a lot of time drinking beer, shouting, playing loud music, making noise, going to church and pray and pray and pray and pray. That has never led anybody anywhere. Even Jesus, that is the Son of God, they killed him. So I've never seen somebody that prayed his way to success. I have never seen it. The history of mankind has never produced somebody that prayed his way to success. All Africans have been doing this for a very long time, and even when they see that it doesn't work, they still keep on doing it. I'm not saying people should not go and pray. I'm only saying that, look, guys, there is no substitute for sound thinking. There is no substitute for critical thinking. And if you think that I come up with all these ideas, these great ideas, by praying about it, you are mistaken. No, all these ideas come from solitude, from sitting, thinking, taking a long walk on the beach, taking a long walk in the forest, sitting down again, thinking about it. That is how these ideas come up. And great ideas come from thinking, not from prayer. I have never seen somebody pray his way to success. So, and I always say, he who wants to continue suffering, let him go on praying and doing smallholder farming, smallholder business, smallholder everything, getting some microfinancing, building individual boreholes, and all these things. You see, I can give you, try to make a list like this. Draw something like this. Come up with your ideas. This is smallholder, okay? This is big holder. It's a word that I coined. It's not in the dictionary, but I call it big holder. So you have a smallholder. Come up with your idea. Anything you have ever thought of doing, okay? Excuse me. Anything you have ever thought of doing, try to fill it in, okay? You want to be an electrician. Is this smallholder or big holder? You want to have a farm. The level of farming you have thought of, is this smallholder or big holder? For those who doesn't know, for the smallholder, you are under 25 hectares. Then you're the smallholder. So if you want to be, you want to start a school, are you thinking smallholder or big holder? Do you want to have, a school with 1,000 children, or you want to have a school of 40? Some people will say to me, some brave soul will say to me, oh, I'm going back to Nigeria or to Africa to set up a business. Oh yeah? How much do you have? Oh, I have 10,000 euros. 10 whooping thousand euros. Okay? Then I said, okay, yes, you have 10,000 euros. What is that? Is that a smallholder? Just excuse me, please. Okay. One of my data was about to go off, so I have to change that. So if you want to think, please put your ideas down. Okay? Do me a favor. Try to please me. Put your ideas down. Are your ideas smallholders or big holder? Okay? Because the effort it takes you to grow a big holder business is the same as it takes you to build a smallholder business. Honestly, the effort to build Facebook that the whole world is using today is the same effort to build a small Facebook that only one village is using. Okay? The effort to build Google by one person, I'm not saying that everybody that is working with Google, the people who, the originator of Google, the ideas, the effort they have put in building Google is the same as it would have been if they were just a simple web developer. Even as a web developer, they would have worked more harder. Okay, so for those, a lot of young people really, they bombard me with so many questions. And I said, so that's why I'm making a video. If you're an African young person, go and sit down, evaluate your ideas. Is that big holder or small holder? You can't go to Africa with 5,000, let's say 10,000 euros. You can't go to Africa, it doesn't matter which African country, with 10,000 euros to set up business. That business is doomed to fail. Trust me. $10,000 or 10,000 euros, that is the money you use for education. 10,000 euros is the money you use to educate yourself. It's the money you use to pay school fees. It's the money you use to pay a guru, somebody who understands the business you are trying to go into. It's the money you use to go to seminars. It's the money you use to go to conferences, to learn the business you're trying to go. It's the money you use to buy books, to train yourself, to get educated. 10,000, you see, I said to people, if I were you and I have $10,000, I would take some time off from my work. So I have a job and I've raised $10,000 and I want to go and set up a business in Africa. So what I would do is that, so look, I would take 3 months off from my job. I won't quit the job. I'll take 3 months off and I will use that 10,000 to supplement my income for that 3 months. That 3 months, I will work my butts up. Literally, I will do 20 hours a day. I will study, I will study, I will study, I will study, I will read books, I will watch the YouTube videos, I will train. I still do that. I will train in this office I'm talking to you. I will push everything to one corner and I will start training, doing physical training. Because otherwise I get crazy because I work the whole day. I will train. After I finish training, I will sit down again and start to work. I will doze up a bit in the afternoon for maybe 15 minutes. They call it siesta in Spain, but so I would doze off, come back again and start working. So if I were you and I was young, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, that's what I would do. After spending that many hours for 3 months, I will read all the books that I can read. I will go to the seminars I can go. I can go to webinars that I can visit. I go to conferences. I do all this. Then you are ready to go and start a business in Africa. But you won't have money because you have spent all your money learning. Okay? But I can tell you one thing. My first business, I started it with $2,500. Okay? It was from the credit card. And I ended up selling that company for $500,000 under 2 years. You don't need big money to start a business. What you need is ideas. The ideas are the most powerful thing. And how do ideas come to this? Do you think Mark Zuckerberg has money? No, the man didn't have a dime. Do you think that Bill Gates had money? No. You think that the Google boys, I still call them Google boys, but they are not boys anymore. Sorry about that, Sergey. So these guys, they are, the ideas came from here. Okay? Not a small holder idea. They were big holder ideas. Your big ideas is worth millions. Okay? Your big idea, one big idea is worth millions. So, but you don't get that big idea because you don't have the skills to think your way there. Okay? So that's why our people are stuck. They're just stuck. Somebody will say, oh, I want to go and start a pig farm in Nigeria. Oh, yeah? So how do you want to start a pig farm that people in Nigeria are not doing yet? So what is your innovation that you are bringing in? You know, you just don't go to Nigeria or go to Ghana or go to any part of Africa and say, look, I want to go and start a pig farm. What is your innovation that you are bringing in? Okay. What is your big idea? What makes you to be different from the guy that is already on ground suffering? What makes you think that when you come around, you're going to be better? Because suddenly your pig business is going to just blow out of proportion when the other dude has been there for years and has not been able to make an impact. Now, it's because people, and why is because people are so addicted to prayer. They say, they're going to leave it in the hands of the Lord. You can leave it in the hands of the Lord all you want. At the end, you're going to lose all your money by being a smallholder, and the Lord ain't going to do nothing. So this is how you do it, guys, girls. This is how you do it. Every great person, every person that has made it, this is how they did it. This is how I did it. This is how I still do it. This is how it is done. If you think, a lot of people, if you think that, oh, you have $5,000, you have $10,000, now you want to go and play in a big league, you're wasting your time. Nothing's going to happen. Even when you want something to do online business, you still have to put in the work. You still have to put in. I have never seen anybody that put in less work. You know, somebody last time, I met a guy. He's making, like, he has an online business. He was making $2.5 million. Okay. He was making $2.5 million. So I asked him, how are you making it? He said, yeah, I put a Facebook ad. I do this, I do that. I do drop shipping. I said, oh yeah? Okay, good idea. Then I said, okay, look, let's go into drop shipping. How do you do your research? He said, oh, every day I go through 100 products. And I go through 100 different products every day to find out what is selling, what is better, you know. And he said, when I make a Facebook ad, I test about 10 ads every day. And those are advertisements. He has to think about the idea. He has to think about the slogan. He has to think about the design. He has to set it up every blessed day, different type. They do what they call it the split testing. And after he does that, and sometimes Facebook get angry with him, so they have closed 3 of his accounts. Okay, closed. So what I'm telling you is that when you see what he has to do and what he's still doing to reach that 2.5 million a year, that is a hell of a job. Everybody that I know who is successful, that's what they do. That is what it takes to be successful. And I think, honestly, that many of our people don't understand that. Because our people think they only see this one, the 2.5 million. So the best way to deceive a Nigerian is to say, oh, you come and start this business, I am already making 2.5 million a year. Or look, when you come here, I will just make plenty money. This guy is making 1 million. The other guy is making 1.5 million. Oh yeah, so I come. But what our people will never ask you is this work. And that work, that work, anybody that doesn't do it is never going to make it. Is never going to make it. You know, I don't care. Even when I always say to people, I don't encourage people to be 419. Go and look at 419 con artists that are successful. How much work they have to put in. You know, You think it's just easy to rip people off? No, we have to make work out of it. It's like Samuel L. Jackson said. He said, shit doesn't just happen, it requires effort. So a lot of things you do in life, everything you do in life, you want to be big in it, at it, you will require effort. And that effort is not smallholder. So please, that word smallholder, Africa has to banish it from the dictionary, okay? We don't want to be seen anymore as smallholder. We don't want anybody calling us smallholder. And I don't want any young African thinking smallholding anymore. You see, you know you are thinking smallholding if you think about going to do a business and you don't sweat. That's what I call the sweating rule. If you think you want to start up a business and you don't sweat, the idea doesn't sweat you, then you know you are thinking small holding. Because small holding is a comfort zone. Okay? It's a comfort zone. And people love comfort zone. When you're in a comfort zone, like this room I am now, it's a comfort zone. There's no armed robber coming in. I have electricity, I have water, I can be here for a whole month. You know, there is no there's no earthquake. There is nobody's going to, Americans are not here to drop a bomb, nothing. So it is my comfort zone. Okay. But if I want to attend a meeting in New York, I have to leave this comfort zone and take a plane. Until I take a plane and go there, nothing's going to happen. What smallholder is to Africans? Smallholder is a comfort zone. We just stay there as smallholders, and there are people who come from Europe, who come from America to encourage us that we are smallholders, and we'll start making small baskets. I mean, how ridiculous is that? People, we have a whole continent with bamboo everywhere in Nigeria. So what do people do? People make one small basket and they say they want to go and sell it in New York. What the hell are you doing with one small basket to sell in New York? Why not make 1,000 baskets, 10,000 baskets? There are people who can make these things, but people don't think like that. That is why we have people who will go to Dubai. This is a true story. People will go to Dubai, they will buy made in Nigerian shoes from Dubai, and they will bring it back to Lagos. So, because the guy who made the shoes from Aba, he thought Nigerians would not buy the shoes if he write made in Nigeria, so he will write made in Italy on it. So another crazy guy look at the shoes, say, you know, these shoes, let me send them to Dubai because they're made in Italy, nice shoes, and they're cheap. So I send them to Dubai. So another crazy guy goes to Dubai and say, hey, this made in Italian shoe, good looking. Let me bring them to Nigeria and sell them. So they bring them to Nigeria and then sell them as made in Italy. But these shoes were from Aba in the first place. So what I'm saying is this: even when you see how much petrol was burnt, they call it, the United Nations have a nice word for it. They call it, you know, a carbon footprint. Is another nice word. If you see the carbon footprint that shoe has done, how much pollution it has caused to transport that shoe from Aba to Dubai, from Dubai to Lagos before you can sell it. Somebody should be flogged in Islamic, you know, Sharia way. That is smallholder thinking. That is it's what Fela called colonial mentality. It's the smallholder thinking, and we got to get the hell out of that level of smallholder thinking. It is not the white man that is holding Africa back. It's the Africans that are holding themselves back. Africans are holding Africans back. Because even right now, no matter how great ideas that I come up with, I think about, you just don't have people to implement it. You cannot go to Africa and say, look, we have these great ideas, let's implement it. Nobody shows up. Nobody shows up. Because, look, I give you an example. I give you an example. We have this, let's take agriculture example. I'm digressing here. So we say we want to plant plantain. Nigeria love plantain. We want to plant plantain. Let's plant plantain. The smallholder calls me and say, hey, I need 100 plantain, 100 suckers. Okay? 100 suckers. Say, yeah. What the hell are you going to do with 100 suckers? Because a hectare, you require 200, at least 2,000 suckers. Okay? For those who are not in agriculture, a plantain sucker is that little one that is growing out of the plantain under that you cut it and you go and put in the ground somewhere. 100, you are not getting anywhere with 100. So you need at least a handful. You need 2,000. Okay? So, but that is how a smallholder think. Now, the thing is that a big holder think like this. A big holder think, oh, let's set up a tissue lab. Okay? We set up a tissue lab. A tissue lab is you can multiply. You multiply plantain sucker. Okay? So from one sucker, you can get 1,000 plants. Okay? Now, this guy, this smallholder guy, he has to go and carry 100 big suckers. To do 1 hectare, he has to go and carry 2,000 big suckers. Carry truck all the way from Ibadan. Carry it to where he wants to plant it. A lot of trouble. A big holder, he has a tissue lab. Is very. He's going to multiply the plantain. I can do it. So one of the sucker, he make 1,000 plants out of it. So that plants now. So for him, for that person, give him one sucker. He will have at the end of the day, because once he have 1,000, he can multiply this times 1,000. So he's now having 1,000,000. Okay, he has 1,000,000 suckers. They call it plantlet. So this is how a big holder think. This whole process will cost him 12 months. Okay, and now he can now go and plant 1,000,000 plants. So this guy is still busy with his small holding. This guy has expanded. Now, to set up a tissue lab, you need about $50,000 to $75,000, okay, to get it done. So, but this guy, the problem is that we have Nigerians all over the world with a lot of money, and some of them will even go to Africa and spend $75,000, $100,000 to go and start to do one silly farm somewhere in Nigeria. And I think, guys, why have you not thought of this process? Because you have not done the work. You have not spent the time to research that there is what we call tissue culture, and that this tissue culture can give you 1,000,000 plants in 12 months. And those 1,000,000 plants, for those who are interested, they are clones. They are all the same. They look alike. If they were people, they will all look alike. They look alike. And one of the major advantage of that is that once you clone them, you can take the most healthier plant you can find without disease, nothing, and you multiply it to 1,000,000. So that means you have now 1,000,000 plants that are not sick. This guy, his plantains full of sickness, full of disease, full of every other rubbish. But guess what? He's very excited because he's a smallholder. But he ain't getting nowhere. Okay? But this guy say, somebody would tell me, oh yeah, but we don't have the money. No, people have the money. A lot of people with this money, there are hundreds of thousands of Nigerians, Africans who have this money. And if you have this operation going on, there are companies in the world that will invest in your business if you can set this operation up. But the problem is that people don't have the knowledge that this even exists, that you can do this. So therefore, they stay smallholder, and they're going to go to get a micro finance or $100. Sometimes people are nice to give you $1,000. Okay? That's the problem of Africa. That's why nothing is working, because the people think too small. So for people who want to know how to use it, so when we can start working together, and then you can start seeing wonders happening in Africa. People will say, oh, you know what? There are 10,000 people that are holding Nigerian back. 10,000 people, only 10,000 people. Yeah, 10,000 people. Why is it that we cannot find 10,000 who are ready to think big scale and scale those people out of power? That's just how it works. If you have 10,000 people who are making nuisance out of the place, you should be able to get 10,000 people who are prepared to think those people out of the world. Do you know that by the time you have 10,000 multimillionaires who think this way, who can perform at this level, that all these clowns we have holding Africa back, they will all run away? Yes, they will run away. You will drive them out of town. So that's why I always tell people, as a look, people who are thinking, oh, we can pray ourselves out of this, we can do this. No, it is work. And the work doesn't have to be violent. You start with yourself, you create, you cook things up, you come up with bright ideas. Bright ideas rule the world. Nobody has ever become a world dominator without brilliant ideas. Go back to history. No country in the world, all the superpowers that have ever ruled the world, they all rule the world based on the brain. You just think about it. The reason why Africa has not ruled the world, forget Egypt. We don't talk about Egypt though. The reason why Africa has not ruled the world is because they've not come up with bright ideas to rule the world. So whether you like it or not, whether you agree with me or not, I know that for a fact, what I'm telling you is golden. For a fact, if you start to transform your thoughts by implementing some of the ideas I've talked about it with you today, in 5 years, your life will be so transformed that when you see me, you will buy. Okay? You will buy me a Ferrari. You will say, look, this man, this man, because of what I learned from this man, I was able to build up my conglomerate. I was able to build up my massive company, and I'm now worth $100 million. Okay? Not by thinking small scale. Small scale ain't getting nobody anywhere. So guys, that's it for me today. I hope I made your day. I hope you understand what I'm saying. In case you don't understand, just watch the video again. I hope the sound was clear. So I'll see you guys some other time, and and keep walking. Cheers.